I'm a black man trying not to get caught. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw. You know it's a big world, so easy to get lost. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw.
Welcome back, great people. It is your boy Josh Rogers.
Brian Hare.
And welcome to another episode of The Jigsaw. This is the podcast where we talk about how we navigate life. You know what we do. We're going to talk about the perils, the praises, the productivity, and the pomp and circumstances of being a black person in America. Mm-hmm. How are you, brother?
I am doing pretty good. It's always a great day to be black in America.
Yes, sir.
Not necessarily in America, but just in general. It's a great day to be black.
Great day to be black.
Great day to be black. Not so much in America, but in general, it's a great day to be black. I'm glad I woke up in the skin that I'm in. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Today was a eventful day.
Okay.
Very productive, but like nothing that I could complain about. It was good, and I'm grateful to be here, brother. I am super grateful to be here. So tonight, I know we're gonna step into it a little bit. Is the Kamala Pence debate? Any early predictions?
Never want to argue with a black woman, so I'm predicting a drag of all drags tonight.
Okay.
That white man doesn't stand a chance. What about you?
I'm there, but I will say I don't want to give any predictions because I know that's our living room talk. So I'm going to wait until we get into that and really give it my all.
Okay. I watch basketball. Basketball's my thing.
I know basketball.
I know sports is not really your thing.
Not really my thing.
But right now we're in a great time. Football's here, basketball's here.
God bless.
We know sports is out, so I definitely want to give a shout out to Seattle Storm.
God bless.
They won a championship.
Okay.
I do believe, hopefully soon, the Lakers, my team, will win a championship. But I definitely got to give a shout out to Seattle Storm.
God bless.
Got to support women's basketball. I have a daughter. She may want to play basketball one day.
She may want to be Lisa Leslie.
She may want to be it. So I'm going to support women's basketball. So shout out to the Seattle Storm for winning their championship.
Yeah, one thing I do support about women's basketball is what Kobe was advocating for before his tragic passing, and that is increasing the salary of women's basketball. Like, in comparison, it's just trash. Oh, yeah. And those women deserve more.
Oh, yeah. And that's a whole conversation we can really have about equity in women's sports and men's sports. And we can have think about the U.S. women's soccer team. That's been like a big debate. Brazil, they have equality as far as payment. But, if you think of the United States, our women's soccer team is much better than the men's. And the men get paid way more. Like, the women win. They win.
They win.
They win.
But yeah, man, I shout out to them. And, I'm not a big sports fan. So when the Grizzlies ever make it to the finals, you let me know. And I'm watching. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Because one thing I do know, nobody checking for Golden State a few years ago, and they're out of the dust.
Out of the dust.
They rose. We have a superstar in my spiritual son, Ja Morant. So you don't know what the future holds.
You are absolutely right.
I know I am. God bless you, and proceed.
Headquarters is in Memphis, so there's a prayer room.
There's a prayer room. We're going to pray them boys, pray them Bears into the finals.
We praying. Oh, man. Speaking of prayer, prayers go up to Thomas Byrd.
Oh, yeah.
A black man was murdered. I would call him a B-list celebrity, maybe?
Something like that. Yeah.
Celebrity? Okay. So definitely give a shout out to his family. Did you hear about what happened? Or
I know. So he was allegedly shot in the back.
Yes.
And killed right here in Atlanta.
Right.
Not a lot of details about what happened, but I know he was in quite a few. He played Nola Darling's father, and She's Gotta Have It. My greatest memory of him was being Maxine Shaw's landlord and living single. I know he played Luther I think the name Luther was his character in She's Gotta Have It. But anyway, he's in some familiar stuff.
Oh yeah, he's like the black guy that's in all the stuff that you like, especially all the Spike Lee stuff. Yeah. He's the guy that's there, and he usually plays like some interesting characters.
That's a good way to say it.
But he's there, and and he's like an undercover I don't want to say legend or underrated legend. It's like we got to support our black men. You know what I'm saying? Especially like our entertainers and actors, and another person murdered. So it wasn't by the police. Just
was not by the police.
Not by the police, but he was killed. So shouts out to his family. Prayers up to them.
Oh, did you? So you remember the whole entanglement issue, right?
Entanglement
with Will, Jada, and August. The 8th month.
Child.
So, from that interview of the Red Table Talk with Miss Pinkett Smith, Mrs. Whatever she's called, Pinkett Smith, there was the memes that were created about Will Smith allegedly crying.
Yes, and it gave us
so they got on Cicely Tyson's internet and told us that he was not crying. That he said he was really tired. He had already told Jada, maybe we need to record this another day because he was tired, didn't feel like it, and blah 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 blah. So I don't know if those. I know they are experts at twisting stories
and making things seem whatever. But listen, to all y'all who thought he was crying. He wasn't pulling Mary J on us. Oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not. This ain't the song of the week. But but he said that he was not crying. So leave that brother alone. Leave Will Smith alone. The memes ain't going anywhere. Nowhere. It's right there with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I'm trying to realize. And I know we're rambling right now, but that's the thing that I wanted to understand why they thought it was so important to tell us that, because whether he's crying or not, he looks the way he looks.
Right.
And the internet is going internet. And the memes. And now they're finna probably make memes and gifs based on this thing that y'all just...
Right. It's like, just let the world have what they have. And like I say, crying or not, we was going... The thing about black Twitter and this black community, we going to get these jokes off.
We're going to get these jokes off.
And I think, we can go in a deeper, a psychological thought process where, we've gone through so much. So it's more like we got to be able to laugh instead of crying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Comedy has become our therapy in so many ways.
So many ways. So we're going to find... something funny in the most serious things, which is why I love social media, because black folks make social media what it is. I think if you took black people off of social media, it would be nothing.
It would be nothing. And speaking of black folk, that is a perfect segue to something more official in this podcast, and that is the song of the week. You ready for it?
I'm ready. Go for it.
All my niggas in the whole wide world.
Okay.
This one is for us. Shout out to Solange Knowles Townsend. I think she goes by whatever her married name is. But anyway, FUBU off her A Seat at the Table album. That album, I didn't give it the kind of credit that it deserved when it first came. And I listened to it and I enjoyed it, but re-listening, it has a lot of replay now in my life, and it's just good. And that, first of all, the album itself was black.
Black as black and
black as black can be. And this whole song FUBU just it's literally it just gives homage to everything black and blackness. This one is for us. Play this song when you want to feel black. Play this song when you want to be in power. And you know what I'm saying? This song is for us.
Listen, it's on my Blackly Black playlist. On my it's black.
Oh, you gotta slide me that playlist.
Oh yeah, it's Blackly Black.
Slide. I love a good playlist.
Oh yeah, I have music which is for black people. It's all that, everything black on it.
Well, most of my iTunes is all black people anyway. I decided of Maroon 5, maybe an Adele bop here or there, and a couple of these Christian alternative singers. Oh. Some of that kind of stuff. The rest of it, you ain't finding too much.
Oh, I have a playlist for the white stuff. It's called White Noise.
I guess no. No, they don't get that kind of attention.
My music is segregated. We're not listening to...
Ain't no separate but equal.
We don't listen to black and white music together. We ain't doing that here.
We ain't The only thing I put on my playlist is Adele, but it's the New Orleans bounce version. Oh. So it's actually mulatto.
and low key, Adele, she needs to be with a black person. Like, come on.
She need to go ahead and marry black. That white man didn't treat her right.
He ain't treat her right.
Go and get you some black men.
Adele loves black men. It's evident. It's evident. So she
loves Beyonce. She gotta love black men.
She got to. Like, we just to stop playing. So.
All right, y'all. Let's get ready and head over and get into the blessing report. Let's do it.
In the midst of confusion, in the midst of persecution, the Lord is still blessing me right now.
We are here at the Bless Up Report, where we shout out and we support and salute Black businesses and things that Black people are just doing in general. Because Black excellence is a thing, and it's Black History 365 days. So we wanted to shout out a place that I think is dope. Those that live in New York and those who like going to New York, like myself, is a place called Black Vintage Market. Have you heard about that place before, Josh?
So yeah, they actually popped up on my IG about maybe a week ago, and they're doing this like photo essay series, and it was a picture of Muhammad Ali holding up his mom, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And from there, I just kind of got lost on their page. So yeah, it looks really dope. It looks super dope.
Yes, well, basically it has a lot of like Black memorabilia, like, and you know, I love a vintage T-shirt.
Yes, I'm here now. While I don't thrift, I'm here for a vintage T-shirt, and you know, my OCD would probably allow me to wash it several times before I wear it. But I get what you're saying. I'm here for it.
But it's definitely in you know, Black Market Village. It's vintage. That is, it's a place that is specifically curated for us, by us, for us. So it has our culture, our DNA in it. So definitely, if you're in the New York area, go check it out. One of the shirts was actually in my favorite show and your favorite show, Insecure. So
come on, Insecure.
Listen, if Issa Rae does it, I'm supporting it. So shout out to them, these sisters that created that place. Black excellence continues.
Okay.
And a singer said to be young, gifted, and Black. Right.
Young, gifted, and Black.
So I want to shout out Caleb Anderson. If you do not know who he is, he's actually a college sophomore. Guess how old he is, Josh?
How old is he? Let's hold a minute. Let's go 16-ish, because you know how they do.
He's Black, so you know.
Oh, 14.
Now he's Black and excellent.
Okay. Shoot, 13?
He's a 12-year-old young man who's a college sophomore. He's at Chattahoochee Tech, and he actually learned how to read and even speak before age of 1. So I have a daughter who's 1, and she ain't reading or speaking. So, but it's dope because he's majoring in aerospace engineering. So we may see him in NASA. We may see him doing great things. He's already doing great things now, but it's great.
Wait a minute. Reading before 1?
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out how not to poop on myself.
Right. Like, you learn to speak and read prior to being 1. Like,
right. I mean, okay. I mean, Black people do what Black people do.
Black people do what Black people do. And I'm praying that same prayer. Whatever the Lord is doing in that child.
Hey, send it to Brooke.
Shy.
Because my kids are past 1, so that prayer it's missed them.
My daughter has a couple days.
But send it over to my
Send
niece,
it over
God.
here, Lord. Send it.
She gonna wake up Friday miraculously reading.
Yes, God. Yes, God. But yes, definitely. If young, gifted, and Black, I definitely want to shout out and salute our young people who are doing great things. Black people just do great things all the time, and we got to salute and support us. So, Josh, would you like to go up to the billboard?
Let's head over. We got stuff to talk about.
I'm sure we do.
All right. So this week in the billboard, so y'all president.
Y'all president.
45. Mr. Cheeto, tan overload, whatever you want to call him. It was alleged that he has COVID-19. Now, alleged. So I got on Cicely Tyson's internet and said that I don't believe he had it. I believe it's a scheme that Todd set up. Shout out to Bertha for that. But it seems as if he did have it, right, or does have it, or whatever. So let's go with that he does have it, right?
Okay.
Let's go with that. And if he does have it, you know, he allegedly recovered in about 3 days. Now, a lot of people are saying, see, that's proof. But here's the other thing, though, Brian. He allegedly received, like, he's the president, so he received top care. Now, on one end, there were scientists and doctors that said that the amount of medicine that he received probably should have killed him, if nothing else, because it was too much. But on the flip side, because they did it safely, I'm using air quotes here, that's what got him to feeling better so quickly. Because I think one of the antibodies that they gave him is literally reserved for, like, the sickest of the sick people. So he was on that, on top of like some kind of pain medication, on top of like something else that they gave him. So of course, he's going to fight it off in 3 days. And now they're saying, oh, it's just like the flu. It's not that bad. But silly little man of you, like, regardless of the debates in the medical world about your treatment, what the issue really is that you cannot make this synonymous to the regular person. There's nowhere in the world, God forbid, if I got COVID-19, I can go to the hospital and receive the same treatment that you
At
get.
all.
It's not happening.
Right.
So, and again, it affects everybody's body differently, but let's just say I'm down. I'm like down and out. I'm probably not recovering in 3 days, bro.
No, not at all.
So like this whole, so whether he has it or not, or had it or not, whether that's true, I don't know. We may not ever know. But what I do know is how he's navigated this experience has been a political ploy.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Easily.
always said it. And that's why I didn't believe he had it. I believe it's a political ploy to humanize him. Because think about it. When he first got diagnosed, everybody and their mom was praying, sending their thoughts and their prayers.
I was not
and blah,
praying.
blah, blah, blah.
I'm being, I was not praying.
And whatever you feel like on that side of the fence in your faith was a thing, but think about the ways in which that impacted the Christian vote, at least. Right? Now everybody's praying. Now everybody's sending him. And my thing was, my only hope, because I don't wish death on anyone, was man, don't die. Like, that's it. Like, that's all I got to say to God. Don't die. Like, that's it. But at the same time, you've minimized this disease the entire time. You've talked about people with their masks. And now what it is showing is that even you as president, you're human. You're old.
Right.
You're vulnerable to this disease. So if anything, he should have got on top of it instead of minimizing it, saying, you know what? I was wrong. We need to take this seriously, because from what I understand, bro, what the tea is that when him and Biden debated, everybody was supposed to get there like so many hours early so that they can do COVID test. Allegedly, he got there too late, wasn't able to take the COVID test during then. They exactly, because if you look at him, if you go back and watch the debates, he was kind of like coughing and all that kind of stuff. He had it then. And so they went on this quote unquote honor system of why, because he missed the test. And I think he didn't want to expose himself off that moment, but he just kept getting sick. And then he was just at like a fundraiser, like the same day or days before and things like that. So, you know what I'm saying? And I guess my other beef with it is that you expose all those people. Thank God Biden and none of them, they all tested negatively. Right. You expose all those people on top of once you went on this joyride in your car, you got to the hospital, got to the White House and immediately took your mask off. So I really feel the worst for all the people who are forced to be around you in your stupidity. Oh, yeah. All the people who have to work in the White House and this is their job. This is how they pay rent. This is how they pay their bills. And you are still not taking it seriously and are exposing these people, because these people aren't going to the hospital that you went to.
Not at all.
These people are not going to have the doctors that you had. And this may sound like a greater conversation, but the president pisses me off because this is absolutely ridiculous. And the way he's handling his own issue is very indicative of how he's handled the seriousness of COVID as a larger issue. Right? So yeah.
Yes. And that's the thing. We consider the fact the things surrounding it all, right? So one, we don't have access to COVID testing like the president has access to. So that's one. So one, he can know quicker than most people when you have COVID, right? Yes. And then on top of it, like you said, he has access to the best doctors. But not only does he have access to the best doctors, but all his cabinet and staff and all that kind of stuff have access to the best doctors. And I think that's kind of Kellyanne Conway. She, I guess, said it on Twitter. I guess her daughter was going off about, giving COVID to her. And she was like, oh, my daughter has access to the best doctors in the world or whatever. And it's the fact is it's the audacity, it just kind of shows a level of privilege. Oh, well, even if I get COVID, I have this dream team of doctors that I can just go to, right? And whereas even when it comes to the normal civilians, you have to first show symptoms of COVID-19 before you can even be admitted to a hospital, right? Or even get tests and stuff like that. So, and honestly, even today, if I wanted to go get a test today, right now, I have to wait at least till tomorrow or maybe a day or two. And then sometimes getting the results back isn't as quick. And by that time I could be dead. So yeah, he's, I try not to dehumanize people, but he's trash. Sorry.
Oh, big trash. But we're gonna move past that and go into something a little bit more light. So there's this show on Fox Soul.
What channel is that?
I don't know. I don't know. But I think it's called Cocktails with the Queens or something like that. And it readily stars, I think Claudia Jordan, if I'm not mistaken, was the original host. Okay. And I think she somehow, I don't watch it, but they pop up on my timeline and in the shade room every now and then. But like consistently, she has Lisa Ray.
Mm-hmm.
She has Selena Johnson.
Selena Johnson.
When it all falls down.
That's a great song. Can you pause and say how great of a song that is?
Yeah, rest in peace, Kanye.
Yes.
So Selena Johnson and then Vivica Fox. So those 4 ladies are on there talking and ranting and giving like their commentary on the latest gossip and pop culture, blah, 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 blah. So on one of the more recent episodes, it was Lisa Ray's birthday.
Happy birthday, Lisa Ray. Belated.
Happy birthday, Lisa Ray. Belated birthday. She turned 53.
Diamond.
And Diamond from Players Club, a black cultural icon.
Yes.
Everybody out the dressing room, please.
Make that money.
Listen, and if anybody who knows anything about Lisa Ray, unless you've been under the rock, her and Debrat are half sisters. I don't believe in half stuff. Sisters.
They're sisters. Yeah.
They sisters. But anyway, so allegedly they've been estranged for some months.
Lord.
If you know, I think everybody knew that the brat was gay, but she recently like came out and said it and embraced it. And she's dating the big booty Judy lady, the hair lady from New Orleans. Her name is Judy or something.
On Instagram, it's like the body or
anyway, she's dating her.
Yeah.
She's dating her and. So they surprised Lisa Ray by bringing the brat on to say happy birthday. And Lisa Ray at first thanked her and was like, thank you for coming on. And then she started to say something like, you know, but even though I ain't heard from my sister, and Vivica Fox was like, wait a minute, girl, that's in the past. And Lisa Ray was like, I don't give a y'all don't know y'all don't I mean it was she went off and it just got real silent and Selena Johnson finally came and said, well,
that went left.
That went left. So, and on one end, bro, like if you, I think I kind of blame the brat because number one, you know your sister. You know that y'all ain't talked in a couple of months for whatever reason. It's sibling stuff. We ain't got to necessarily know all of the reasons why. Why would you think it's a good idea to confront a Lisa Ray type on national or maybe regional? I don't know what Fox.
Just on television. Period.
On television. With the and even if it is regional, with the opportunity for everybody to eventually see it and get all in your business. And so anyway, Lisa Ray came back and apologized. And you know, she didn't really apologize for her feelings toward the brat. She was like, "Oh, that was valid." Right. And she really didn't say anything bad. She just kind of called out the fact that I'm glad that I finally heard from you. It's really good to hear from you on my birthday because we hadn't talked. And even though we can argue about whether that was appropriate or not, but she didn't really say anything disparaging about the brat. She didn't put their why or anything out there. But she did apologize to the ladies for flat-foot cussing them.
Them out.
I mean, she cussed them out. And what was most interesting to me about all of this apology and stuff?
What was that?
Was that Vivica Fox said, I received it, baby sister. Girl, you're 56. You're legit 3 years older than her.
Right.
Now, like, I get it. Like it's almost like me and you, Brian. I'm younger than you, but I don't think you've ever, we could say little bro, big bro. I don't think you've ever little bro'd me.
Nah, I don't think I've ever like baby bro'd or little bro or
bro. And I think in a certain extent, like why I am your little brother, if I'm not your bio little brother, like don't little bro me. I don't care unless there's significant difference. Like if you were in your 40s and you call me little bro, like to me that'll be a term of endearment. Right. But if we're like pretty much peers,
right? We're like friends.
Like yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like no, like anyway. And if I called you big bro, it would probably be in some moment where you gave me advice, and I'm just kind of that's my way of honoring you and your wisdom. But like she little sister,
right?
Baby sis, this grown woman. But anyway, that was just. I don't even know why that was relevant, but
it was funny.
But it was funny, and I want you. Don't go look at the apology. Go look at the original video. Go find it.
It's good stuff.
Go look it up because Lisa Ray. And here's the thing: everybody else was like professionally ready with their Zoom best lighting and everything. Lisa Ray was already in the bed. So it should have let you know
she was not with
and she probably was in her bed on her birthday having a couple of drinks. It's already called Cocktails with the Queens.
Lord.
She's probably already tipsy, and she said, "I don't give a." Y'all don't know. You don't know. But she know. You know. And I promise you, I would have been Selena Johnson. Well, let's
Well, all right.
let's go to the next thing. All right, the last thing in this interesting billboard this week is that our girl, the hottie that we all know and love.
We love her.
We love us some. Listen, Megan, Meg the Stallion made her. I think was it her debut on SNL?
I believe so.
Okay. I didn't want to get that wrong, but I feel like we're right about that. She was on there, and Sis's performance was filled with political commentary and messages, and I love the way that she used her platform. So she quoted Tamika Mallory.
She quoted him.
She had it playing in the back about Daniel Cameron being worse than the Negroes who sold black people into slavery. She talked about the fact that, the quote from Malcolm X about how women are the most disrespected.
Black women
are the most disrespected cohort of people, a person in the world, the United States, whatever.
Yep.
And I love that she used her platform. Like, I love the fact that she owns her sexuality and her body and everything that comes with it. But I also love that she's responsible. Like, she's in college. And she's always promoted higher education and for women to be like, go back to school, be in school if that's your thing, whatever. And even in this case, she used it. But what's also beautiful, bro, she talked about how black women need to be protected and black men need to be protected. And she didn't use what she's going through with the little midget Canadian man.
Who would not be named.
Right, who would not be named, to like talk about the ways in which that black men still need to be protected.
Right.
So I think she's super mature for that. I love the platform. Now, Daniel Cameron got interviewed on Fox News and was talking about how it was unfortunate and that, he's not this kind of stuff isn't new to him, and people said this before, but it's really true.
It is true, bro.
It is true, because the thing about it is that as an attorney general, yes, you have to uphold the law, right? And there are ways that you have to prosecute in ABC 1, 2, 3. Like, I understand that about the law. But also, as the attorney general, in these specific types of cases, you have the power as well to determine what laws affect certain people, what kind of prosecutions go down, like all of these types of things, what type of indictments are there. And you chose to protect drywall more than you did the life of a black woman.
God.
So when we talk about you being worse than the Negroes who sold other black folk into slavery, you are.
You are.
Because here's the other piece. You didn't even put them on like charges that protected the people within the opposing community.
Right.
I mean, apartments. You still protected their walls more than you did the people surrounding them and Breonna Taylor.
Right.
So yes, sir. While it is your job to uphold the law, and he talked about he was upholding the law and I have a job to do. Like, no, you had a job to also look at that case holistically and say, if at the bare minimum, it was manslaughter.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they didn't get a murder charge, at the bare minimum, it was manslaughter. We didn't even get that.
No, not at all.
And then the way that man was released on like, what was it, $1,000, like some minimal bond sentence.
Yeah.
It was absolutely. But did you see the SNL performance? Like, what were your thoughts about it?
I did see it, and to me, I think it was dope because anytime, it's always a great time to just highlight black folks and really the struggle or the plight of the black people and really not only our plight but also our strength. And she did that, and I think the dope thing you kind of mentioned earlier as far as Meg expressing her sexuality, the duality of it all. It's like she's known for expressing her sexuality. When people probably came to see the sexuality, she said, "I'm gonna give y'all this message. I'm gonna give y'all this message. I'm gonna let y'all know what's going on." So I think that's dope. And I like the fist raised. Malcolm X is one of my favorite people of all time. Tamika Mallory, when that speech that she gave, calling him every name and speaking truth to power and saying all skin folk and kinfolk or all kinfolk, whatever it is. Yeah. That was to me another example, one of black women always being on the front line for the struggle or on the front line for the fight of justice. So I just think it was all dope. So I think shout out to Meg Thee Stallion for really speaking up and being here for the cause and speaking up for the cause and really loving on black folks. And even like you said, as far as her really saying that black men need to be protected too. Where she could be in a place of like, in words ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like she really could be. I mean, niggas ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? She could be in a space right now. She could be on that vibe, but she's not. And I definitely appreciate her. And I do love Meg Thee Stallion. If you're listening, God bless you.
If you're listening. All right. So now that we got all of that, I'm ready to dig into what this VP debate was all about. You ready, bro?
I am ready.
Let's get into it.
It's about to change. Do it with some soul in a little.
What's going on, y'all, and welcome to the living room. I hope that you have your snacks, and I hope that you grabbed your drink. We didn't do all that, but because we're ready, and you better appreciate this here conversation because we stayed up.
We up late tonight.
We stayed up to watch these here debates because we understood that while you may have gotten your CNN commentary, your MSNBC, your Fox News, NPR, whatever your sources are, you finna get into this good old jigsaw analysis with Josh and Brian. So just initial thoughts, bro.
That's a loaded question because I'm just to say my initial thoughts.
Yeah, unload the clip though.
I'm unloaded. My initial thought is, this was better in terms of civility, in terms of acting as a human being, or like an adult than the last one. So I will commend them on being more civil.
Yes, absolutely in that regard.
Yes, but I don't think I think kudos to Kamala Harris, Senator. Excuse me, I don't want to disrespect her, Senator Kamala Harris, for representing well, in all her beautiful blackness. Yes. She represented very well.
Can I pause real quick for the cause?
Yes.
To say that from the initial response of Pence, when she leaned in that seat, turned that neck, popped them lips, she was giving me Black Mama vibes the entire debate. You remember when Claire would look at Alvin every time he said something real stupid in regards to like masculinity and womanhood? That entire face was Kamala Harris.
All face.
All night.
All face. And the funny thing is, like, if you are a black man married to a black woman or have a black mother, you felt that pressure.
You knew that face.
You knew that face. You knew that pressure, that look. You felt that energy because you've seen it day in and day out. So and that's the thing is she was like mad respectful. Like there were moments where I felt like she could have dragged him for the filth that he is.
Oh, absolutely.
And we might get into it later, but like the space of being a black woman in certain spaces, you can't really. Sometimes I feel like they can't really go to the place where they need to go. Yeah. For fear of being the quote unquote angry black woman. You know what I'm saying? Because there were times where I'm like, Senator Harris, you know good and well you could really destroy him right now.
And that's so real. Like, as well as she did, you can definitely tell she held back. Yeah. Because if you watch the Brett Kavanaugh hearings,
listen,
the way she dragged that man to hell and back, and her prosecutorial skills always come through, and they came through tonight. But you can tell. Definitely. You can tell that she was intentional, and even I'll have to give even Pence this credit as well. They both were intentional on not allowing this debate to be the debacle that was the presidential debate.
You're absolutely right.
So while I believe I think Pence is always more reserved than Donald Trump. He's just that's just his character, right? But I also think Kamala was doing two things, like you said, trying not to be the angry black woman. What I loved her black womanhood though.
Oh yeah, like, it showed.
Yeah, like in her faces, in her expression, in her tone, like that's just black womanhood, and that's not angry. It's just black. I would even say blackness in a sense, right? Because even black men, when we're confronted with issue, like sometimes our face speaks, like we have certain catchphrases. So I love that she leaned and rested into that. But I also could see her balancing, like you said, not wanting to fall into the angry black woman narrative, but at the same time upholding this level of composure that Vice President Biden was not able to do. Even though he was more reserved than Trump, he still, and a lot of times, was very visibly and noticeably flustered. And as irritated as she became, she never gave us that.
Oh yeah, and I think he was flustered because just like in you see in society, like white men can be intimidated, or in masculine can be intimidated by women of color. And I've seen this in corporate America. If you want to see a white man's eyes roll faster than anything, let a black woman say something, you know, or test their intelligence, and that white male privilege of I know she ain't trying to tell me will rise up so quick,
so fast,
so quick,
so fast.
And we definitely saw that on stage.
Yeah, because like, and leaning into their point, you know, I'm just gonna say it like this: white men are gonna white men.
Oh, he definitely.
And what I mean by that is they will clearly put their a lot of times their race, but also their gender, very dominant in every space that they're in. And like you said, if it was a black man, they may feel insulted, but a black woman.
At that,
you know what I'm saying? You're a woman, you know, and it makes me think about the ways in which black women have been just overlooked, disrespected throughout history. One of my favorite movies, well, not one of, my favorite movie, Brian, you know what it is.
Okay.
The Color Purple.
Yes, sir.
Y'all know on the Jigsaw too how much, I think I've talked about before, how much a fan of me is. But anyway, like in the line where Celie finally got free, one of the things that he gave her as an insult was that she was a woman. Like it was an insult. And I think that level of thinking and perspective has carried over across like gender lines, and it's a level of misogyny. But like you said, in addition to white men, not only are you a woman, but you're a black woman. So how dare you come at me like that? And I think and just like leaning into that a little more, that is exactly why he was able to treat the moderator in the way that he treated her. He ran all over her.
Yes.
He disrespected the time limits. And at first he seemed as if, like, I think it is common to assume that in a debate you may go over your time and you may finish a sentence, but he was finishing like thoughts and giving paragraphs in ways that I think, again, one, Kamala was trying to be very astute in her ability to uphold the rules, but also I think he was doing it in ways that the moderator simply would not allow Kamala to do it
at all,
because she was looking at her as a black. You a woman, but now, so I think it was flipped. The moderator was approaching Kamala like you're like we're women, but you're black. And Pence was looking at the moderator like you're white but you're a woman, so you're not going to stop me, right? So I think there was this like real dichotomy that the moderator was facing with upholding the honor of white privilege, but also letting you know we may be feminine, but you're still black. If you didn't pick that up, I don't know what you were watching.
and I saw that. And the thing to me, like, I think he definitely, there was privilege there, right? So he definitely rested on his, even if we don't say white, we wouldn't put white into this right yet, on his male privilege, right? You can just, and you saw it in his eyes, like, I'm gonna say what I gotta say anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like I have the right to say what I want to say. But then on top of that, again, it was like you can tell that to me it felt like there was a bias where the moderator again allowed Pence to say and do things that she did not allow Senator Harris the space and opportunity to do. It's kind of, to me it felt like a boxing match where the moderator is supposed to be the referee, and the bell clearly has rung. Right, rang, wrong, whatever. And Kamala Harris does the right thing and is going back to her corner, and then the boxer keeps punching her. Keep punching her, and then the referee doesn't say anything. And that's what it felt like. The referee didn't intervene. He's letting her just punch her, while Senator Harris, that is trying to be trying to be professional, and do the right thing as far as in terms of the rules and stuff like that. So you definitely saw to me, it felt like a bias. Yeah. And again, it was just kind of like how Senator Harris's just professionalism and, black womanhood shine through in that moment is, we know black women.
Yes, absolutely.
And even when they are disrespected or people try to run them over, they're going to approach things with class and dignity. And she did just that.
Oh, she absolutely did that. And I think the interesting thing about Mike Pence, Vice President Pence, rather, kind of going over his time, not kind of going over his time,
All the time.
and being disrespectful and and even interrupting her, like consistently interrupting her. I think not only was that privilege, but it also was interesting in the fact that he consistently dodged every question that was thrown his way.
Every single question.
There was not a clear answer that he was able to give in any particular way that like Brian. All right, if you looked out your window, what would you say it looks like right now?
It looks dark.
All right. So if you were Mike Pence, you would have said, well, just based on my experience in life, there are times in which it may be dark outside and it may be light outside. But what me and my administration is going to be able to do is to ensure that there is safety in whether there's darkness or whether there's light. Bruh, we don't need any of that. Right. The only thing that I need is for you to answer the question. And he spent so much time defending. Well, let me take this back. He spent so much time approaching the questions in ways that only benefited the narrative that he wanted to prove. Oh, yeah. And part of that is debate, right? You want to prove your narrative, but when it comes at the risk of actually not giving real, tangible information, stuff that I can research, stuff that I can put my hands on. Right. Like, for example, the coronavirus. There's no way that Mike Pence could flip the coronavirus. So by saying that, the president did all these things to keep the American people safe, and blah, 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 the very same president many times was contradictory to what Dr. Fauci said. And many times he was very contradictory to what you're trying to put out there now. Like the man just told us months ago, masks aren't that important. Empowering people who were protesting about not wearing masks, something about, hey, these good people need to get back to work because these white folk out here just really want haircuts and want to be able to do all the other type of things, right? So and these are things that you can't flip. So instead of trying to talk through whatever asinine rationale the Trump administration had, all you had was meaningless rhetoric that just and then you were going over your 2 minutes and still not answering the question.
Oh yeah, and the thing that was bothering me too, this fool was using his 2 minutes to answer the question before, or not even answer the question, but to address.
Can I go back to
that? And then what he would do is he would go back, use his 2 minutes to respond to something that Senator Harris said on the last question, and then still use 2 minutes to then not even answer the next question.
Not even answer the question.
So frustrating.
It was so frustrating, and so you were hogging all of the time. You did not answer any questions, and you dodged a lot of questions. But let me ask you this: what was your perspective on how Senator Harris began to shift the focus of her answers on the lackluster performance of Donald Trump?
The thing is, it's tough because it's there's a certain base that already knows Donald Trump is trash, right? And I think sometimes in the debate, my thought process is you're trying to set up a case for those who are on the fence. I think she did that. In most cases, she did that. I think she did a good job as far as painting the picture, as far as the administration's failure to enact certain policies and failure to. I think one of the things she said I think was really great. She was saying "Oh, y'all wanted to to slow the frenzy." I'm just paraphrasing. Slow the frenzy of the coronavirus. And she was like, "Well, what was y'all doing about this toilet paper? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that it really changed anything? No. It was the fact of it was a thing, but y'all acting like it wasn't a thing. Yeah. And then now we have 210,000 people dead, and y'all still acting like it's not a thing. You know what I mean? I think she did a good job of trying. Listen, trying. Yeah. To point to where the truth was. Yes. But I think what he ended up doing was countering, and using words that she didn't really say to try to prove a point. She said something along the lines of, the administration, our president, didn't do a good job regarding the coronavirus. he says, "Oh, well, Americans sacrificed a lot and did a great job regarding the coronavirus." She specifically said the administration, where he wants to say, "Oh, well, Americans did a great job with coronavirus. You guys made sacrifices, and my heart goes out to those that made sacrifices." No,
Right.
The what she said was that the administration was trash in this process. You want to flip it and go, "Oh, but the American people, we trust the American people." Like, no, bro, like you're off topic. And even with the same thing when it came to, she was trying to hold him accountable regarding masks or potential mandates and stuff like that. He was like, "Well, we feel that the American people are smart enough to, do things, in their own time, in their own way, and be responsible and stuff like that." And then the moderator asked a great question. She said, "How do you expect the American people to do the right thing or follow mandates and stuff like that when y'all didn't do it?" And he still did not answer that question.
He didn't, because he didn't have an answer, right? Because just like, I feel like we talked about it a little bit earlier in the podcast when we talked about the president having COVID-19. Like, once he got out of the hospital, what did he do? He immediately began to downplay COVID. He immediately began to take his mask off into spaces. Like, we saw the planted pictures because the timestamp said that those pictures were 5 minutes apart. But he had on different outfits. He was in different positions. So he is consistently downplaying everything about this particular virus. And what I really loved about what Senator Harris was able to do, not only was she able to talk about how put the focus on how Trump and his administration has failed, but she continued to push the narrative to show that this was a pattern of Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
So she was showing not only is he just terrible in these one-off situations, he is consistently terrible.
Oh yeah, and that's to your point earlier where you said as far as her litigation skills, she was trying to legit give us a case. Like, she was providing the case and she was giving us different exhibits, and she was building the case against Donald Trump. So you can clearly see that she was prepared in terms of her skill and her style. And the funny thing is, Lauren kind of mentioned to me, she did not say or anything at any time in that debate. Like, she stood strong in what she was saying, and she did a great job of, to me, I believe, painting the picture and showing, like you said, the constant, the trend of Donald Trump not doing the right thing or making the right decisions.
And it just came in, breaking news.
Oh, Lord.
that there's been a fact check where, speaking of coronavirus, where Vice President Pence said that the Obama administration left the stockpile empty, where the Obama administration left over about 16,000 ventilators were left after his administration left office. So just all and that's the thing, when you don't answer questions and you just want to disparage the legacy of the former administration, you're left in these situations where you can President Trump is always lying, right?
Always.
But what's more, what I believe, and I'm just going to lean into this a little bit, that Pence's position today was to reconcile, I think I said it earlier, the debacle that was the first presidential debate.
I agree.
However, even in his professionalism and his calm demeanor, he lived up to the reputation of a deceitful and despicable administration. I get it that you are going to downplay the previous administration before you, but when it comes to a place where you're straight up lying, and you're not even at all, and you can say Obamacare was a disaster because you didn't believe in Obamacare, right? That's your right, that's your perspective. Whether we agree with that or not,
right?
You can, if you dislike the policy, you can say that. But to say blatant lies they left us without any means to provide A, B, and C for medical care, when there was 16,000 ventilators left to do whatever they were going to do with them. When Kamala Harris brought up the point that the emergency response staff that was in place, you know what I'm saying, you fired them all immediately. Immediately, but then didn't even replace them immediately. So if you get rid of them, think about your job, bro. If for some reason, let's say the entire team that's under you gets fired, your company is going to be like, all right, Brian, we got to refill it, because you can't do all this by yourself. A, B, and C, 1, 2, and 3. So while there was no pandemic or like massive like global disease or anything that was going on at the time when Trump was elected, it does not mean like there was technically no war going on either, but you don't get rid of the Marines and the Army and the Navy. Like you don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So like at the same time, like I just really don't like, and I guess that's all I really have to say is that I don't like it, but I've come to expect it. The ways in which you try to completely lie and tear down Obama's legacy versus really just debating. Like for me, the debate should be the differences between the fact. Now, if you speak negatively against it, again, I can't come at you for speaking negatively against something that you don't agree with, whether like I agree or not. But to like flat out say there was nothing there, and there are clear facts that there were plenty of the things there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and even to suggest when he was saying something along the lines of that swine flu was just they got lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you know, only I think 12. I don't know the numbers offhand, but only like 12,000 people died of swine flu, and he was saying, oh, y'all got lucky. Okay.
No.
Okay, but we had a whole team in place. We had a whole strategy in place, and not on top of that, the Obama administration or President Obama has the capacity to provide a calming nature and a response to even the worst situations, whereas Donald Trump does not have that the ability to even though he's lying, talking about, oh, I didn't want to alarm the people, he doesn't have the ability to even take a potentially dangerous situation and bring calm to it.
But think about and let's even debunk that. Like I'll be the own fact checker here, and I don't have like the exact stats or anything, but I remember very specifically H1N1 and swine flu and all that kind of thing.
I remember it,
and I remember like there was a case here in Georgia where when that man went to Emory Hospital, they blocked off like the whole floor, and I think it was because at the time the Obama administration had equipped people with information and, like you said, calm them in a way and follow CDC guidelines and put out things in place. Like I don't remember ever stopped working, having to be remote. And I worked downtown, not far from Emory Hospital in Midtown, and there like I wasn't like not allowed. Like people couldn't go into their hospital and into their floor, but like I was not allowed to travel in like Midtown Atlanta. So I say that to say, I don't like losing 12,000 lives is a tragedy. That's a lot of people who are gone. Right?
One life is too many.
One life is one too many. However, I think the numbers were disproportionately low in comparison to the 200,000 is because the way that the Obama administration handled it. I don't think that, unfortunately, in any pandemic where you do not know like the consequences of a disease, what the results of said disease could be, I believe that unfortunately human life will be collateral.
Yes.
Right? I don't think that there will ever be a pandemic where no one is like you won't have any fatalities.
Right.
However, that number can be drastically diminished in ways that it has not happened. So not only have we saw death in unprecedented ways, but we also saw an economy that is being affected. We saw people that like I've been laid. I was one of the people that got laid off, so I could speak to that directly. And then just the way that the federal government even responded to relief. Like, what is $1,200? For real, like what is $1,200? And then I had children, so I got an extra G, right? But what is $2,400? Nothing.
No.
In the greater sense of things, if I paid my rent out of that, it would eat that up. Easy. And I would have very little left after I paid my rent. Right? So, but think about the families who were not in the position like me, where I got some severance pay, and and I had a decent savings and things like that. Right? Everybody isn't as fortunate.
Right.
So $1,200 literally didn't move any needle for any family, for really needy families.
Right.
So to say that people got lucky was like, first of all, your response was trash.
Right.
And it wasn't so much luck as much as it was an administration that had the capacity to really handle what it was. And if we're being honest, H1N1 wasn't as, what I will say to that, it wasn't as unknown as coronavirus.
Right.
But I also think getting the information early, right, and being on top of that information allowed us, even with whatever knowledge we may have had about it, to get on top of it and prevent the spread, whether it was completely unknown or not. If Donald Trump would have done what some of our other sister countries had done, we would be in a space where we really could probably be back to some level of normalcy. Why do you think that Europe ain't letting us over there, Americans over there?
Right.
Because they don't know what's going on with us.
Right. and that's the to me is one of the biggest things. We're going to get back to the debate after this. I believe I'm hopefully can transition back to it. But I think that's one of the main things I think with this election is the to me, we're just even putting away side principles, conservative principles, democratic principles, liberal principles, whatever. To me, the biggest issue is Donald Trump being the president is that he's like the face of our nation. Mm-hmm. And at the moment, we are completely like a laughingstock to the world. And that saddens me, And the thing is, I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? During the Olympics, I'm going to be America's rah, 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 rah. So I'm proud to be an American. However, at this moment, I'm
gonna let you be proud, bro.
Let me say, I'm proud in terms of, like, I enjoy my lifestyle. I enjoy, the stuff that I have. I like the country that we live in. Let me say that.
Okay.
But in terms of course, how we do things and run things, I think that's trash. But I think it's even more trash that we are like the laughing stock of the world. When at one point, when they keep saying during the Obama administration, people didn't trust us, people didn't love us and stuff like that, where like clearly they did polls around the world, President Obama was one of the most admired men in the world, and he still is on the list of the most admired men in the world. So we were never at a place where it felt like or seemed like as America we were just the laughing stock or not allowed in other countries. So to me, that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And to say that like our administration is completely like laughable at this moment. Countries don't respect us. It says a lot, right? So I'm really interested, bro, and I'm gonna tie this back to the moderator in what the white base is going to really do, right? Because I know that there's blacks for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
And POCs for Trump. But if you look at the overwhelming data from the last election, it was white women who really pushed the needle and got that man in office. And I'm wondering how the respectability factor, because that's one thing white people hold on to with their privilege. They hate to be disrespected or seemingly disrespected. And there's this level of respectability factor that not only Trump does not have, but he's lost with the major players in all nations, right? No pun intended to church, right? But like he's definitely lost it, across nations, abroad. So I'm very interested in how the disregard for the respect of the office of president is going to really affect what this election is going to be come November 3rd.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, so we were up late night. November, what was it last year? November 4th, November 2nd?
4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Something like that.
We were up.
Oh, yeah, up.
We were up.
Late.
Texting in complete disbelief. And in most cases, to me, I wasn't necessarily shocked. I was shocked. But I was shocked to the fact of like, I can't believe I really did this. But then the reality set in like, this is America. And like Donald Trump, if you were to say who is America, at the heart of America, Donald Trump would be the living embodiment of who America is. Racist, misogynist, broke. You have a level of white. You have a level of pride in something that you didn't build yourself. And so to me, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. America deserves Donald Trump because Donald Trump is who America is. And as you alluded to, like, or you said, the white women were the I guess the people who kind of pulled him over or put him over the hump. And this was even after all of the misogynistic things that he said and the allegations of rape and sexual assault and cheating on his spouse, all this stuff that came out, and that women completely should have been like, that was terrible. I'm not voting for this guy. They still voted for him. White women, that is. I think it was 67% or something like that. It was
it was big numbers.
It was a big number. And I saw a poll today that said it's that number has decreased, but still, like, I think that if Donald Trump wins the election again, I wouldn't be shocked, and I wouldn't be shocked that if it was like white women that voted him in again.
Right. So what I think the biggest win tonight was, bringing it back to the debate, more specifically, because for all of you listening, we're going to talk about this upcoming election and what all that means.
Oh, yeah.
So just consider October voting and election month. Vote or die. Shout out to Diddy in 04 whenever he said that, right? But I think the biggest win, though, was that there was negative perception and a real opportunity for counterattacks against what the Trump administration is and represents.
Right.
I think that was the biggest win tonight. And like I said, for Kamala Harris to keep resting on the fact that Donald Trump has a repeated pattern of doing bad things, a repeated pattern of not following through, a pattern of lying. Because one thing that the Trump administration can never debunk or can never go against is that you can't flip COVID. You can't flip the fact that your president did not denounce and kind of encourage hate groups and hate speech.
Right.
You can't go against like the deaths that's in America. You can't flip the trade war that's going on. As much as you don't believe in global warming, you can't flip the fact that last winter we had one of the hottest winters known to me. Like it was like 70 degrees on Christmas almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like so these are things. And while it doesn't get really cold in the South, like we legit be in the 20s though, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. So like these are things that you can't flip. And I'm really hoping that the last debate, as asinine as that was, and tonight's debate just kind of showing, I hope people can see past the facade of Mike Pence's demeanor.
Right.
And really look at the fluff and the lack of substance that he provided in his answers and what he had to say. And I really hope people are finally able to reconcile whatever their issues are with Kamala Harris.
Right.
Because I think me and you've kind of talked about this offline several times. Love it or hate it, she is the next front runner for the Democratic Party.
Exactly.
So there could be some rising, amazing political person that pops up, but as of today, your vice president is always the first front runner in an upcoming election.
Right.
Unless you have somebody like a Mike Pence, who in my opinion is nothing but a Dick Cheney. And we kind of know he's kind of just a lame duck. He's kind of there to be there, right? So I hope anyway, that the debates kind of prove that. Like, one, a Kamala presidency is something that we can get behind in the future because she's going to be the front runner and run. And two, that while he was cool, calm, and collected, he was still negative. He was still abrasive, and he represented everything that Donald Trump represent, is.
Yeah, he's like the person. Well, okay, so like, say if you're in an argument, right, and you are just passion, you're just showing passion. But then you ever been in an argument with a person who's like calm, but what they're saying is like really rude and condescending?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you're on the other side of the argument, and you're just passionate, you're like, ugh, and you're upset. Like Mike Pence is that person. He's the person in the argument where he's real calm, but what he's saying is rude and condescending, and like it's legit making you like upset. And this, I think, was happening to Senator Harris. He was saying some like rude and condescending things, and I can, and I think the goal was to try to get her out of character. Mm-hmm. And that's what oftentimes people do. Like when you do get upset, they're like, "Oh, I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything." And then you act like,
"Why are you so aggressive?
Why are you so aggressive, bro? What's going on?" Like, I just say, like, And then of course there was the dog whistles out there, mm-hmm. But that's like I said, like, to your point, as far as that's the kind of person he is. He's just said stuff with just a calm demeanor. But it was still rude. It was still the rudeness of it all was you're just talking without your opportunity to talk. Like it wasn't your turn to talk.
It wasn't your turn to talk.
And that was just rude. And you did exactly what Donald Trump did, just calmer.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And but again, I think that was the strategy, right? Mm-hmm. To remain calm, to be this level of peace, and then in some ways, like you said, push Kamala, mm-hmm. Senator Harris, out of character. What some people may say was out of character, I think was very appropriate when she said, "Mr. Vice President, I'm talking."
That was very appropriate.
And it was just appropriate because I am talking and it's not your turn. You agree, like your team agreed to the rules of 2 minutes of uninterrupted time. And consistently you showed that even as an elder man, that you did not have the capacity to follow rules that you agreed to, that you directly, say like, this is what I'm going to adhere to. This is how it's going to be structured. And you knew for a fact that you was not going to be able to do that. So overall, I think this debate was a lot more palatable than the first one. Like the last one, I just was just like, God help us all,
please.
But this one was a lot more palatable. It was a lot easier to digest. Again, I'm still like very irritated and whatever with the Trump administration. But I also, you know what I'm saying? Like, I also understand that just because I feel like this was a clear win for Kamala does not mean that this is a clear win for us in November.
Oh, yeah, not at all. And honestly, I will never feel, I've seen so many polls, and we saw so many polls in 2016 that showed, and mind you, even, I think we talked about a poll we saw today, and it was like a clear gap. But that silent majority, I don't trust it. But like I said, based off of this debate, I think Senator Harris definitely did her thing. She played by the rules. I guess my question would be, what do you think about when the question was asked about Breonna Taylor? What do you think about their responses?
So I'm intentionally silent because I'm trying, as this is my platform, right? This is our platform. We say what we want to say. Mm-hmm. But I am also intentionally tapering my response because the whole Breonna Taylor thing irritates me so. Mm-hmm. And we discussed it in brevity during the billboard. So y'all kind of know how I feel. And you heard my tone change and shift as we went from light, casual billboard talk to kind of really thinking through it. To say things like, you believe in the justice system. Oh. To have the audacity to say things like, you think it's disrespectful to say that there is systematic racism in America really shows a number of things for me. One, like, your white privilege is blinding. So much so that you can't see the ways in which there's just injustices around that entire case. You can come up with whatever kind of rhetoric to like help your case or causes, but what you can't go against is evidence that says we didn't hear them announce themselves as the police. So while there's a no-knock warrant, there still has to be an announcement of entering into the space, right? Like the fact that the charges were again against the drywall and not against, you know what I'm saying, in support of the people was complete disregard for human life. So for you to kind of always pacify us by saying it was a tragedy, but then go on to want to believe that somehow justice was served, is infuriating. It is disrespectful. It's a slap in my face. I feel like you spit in my face every time you say things like that. And to further say that you have done more for black people than Kamala Harris could have done during her time as AG, bro, I wanted to come through the television and box dude for that. Because to me, that was just the line. Like, remind me exactly the ways in which you've pushed for criminal justice reform. Remind me exactly the ways in which you've advocated for the for Black lives, right? Remind me the ways in which you've advocated for Black rights to be at the forefront and to be equitable to your white counterparts. Remind me of those specific things, not bringing HBCU presidents to the White House, not bringing these coons and jigaboos to gyrate in front of us that got blackface, like these are our skin folk but not our kinfolk, right? Not by hiring idiots like Omarosa and who you ended up firing and didn't even have a real office within the White House. Like, don't do these performative measures and do these other type of things to say that you have the black people and African Americans, you know what I'm saying, at heart. Like, these are not things that you really believe, and your action sure as heck doesn't justify anything that you've ever done. So please tell me the type of justice that you believe in. Please tell me like the ways in which that you support and advocate for Black lives. Please tell me like what hill that you're standing on. Like, show me the hill that you and Terry Crews are finding, because I really want to know what geographic measurements that you're putting into your GPS that is putting you on this space of privilege and this mountain of idiots. Like, I really can't. I get so frustrated because I really can't fathom anyone being that so out of touch and that's so out of tune in 2020.
Yeah, and to me, like, those 2 points kind of just stood out to me as far as like either it's like intention. It's he said 2 things. One was the, like you said, as far as the justice system. That was one that kind of got me hot, where he was just like, oh, well, yeah, I trust the justice system. Like, what? Like, again, privilege, right? Because, you know, justice in your community is completely different than justice in our community. And, you know, to sit there and say, oh, you know, Breonna Taylor this, Breonna Taylor that, and to not really even address the situation was so annoying. But even to your point, as far as what have they done for like the Black community and stuff like that, like, you do know that as far as the president of the United States, if it's a federal crime, they can just instantly just pardon them. So you getting people out of jail is not hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not hard.
And here's the other piece. Much of that was not even because you wanted to or you thought that they need to be pardoned. It was because of whatever rationale that Kim Kardashian had. Now, I ain't know Kim Kardashian nothing
At all.
But I'm not going to like go against the work that she's done to help. I'm not going to say, because people have been fighting for justice for years. So I'm not just going to put this cape on her. No. But I'm not going to downplay that she used her influence, right, to help push the needle to get some of these people who were unjustly prosecuted and jailed, to get them pardoned and get them out, right? But again, while we can say whatever we want to say about Kim Kardashian's part in it, you wouldn't have done that on your own merit.
Oh, yeah.
There was no way, like the Obama administration, where you looked at certain cases, was presented certain things, and was like, okay, this deserves a second look. This deserves a pardon. You were not doing any of that. Specifically, not for Black lives, you weren't about to do that.
Oh, yeah, not at all. No. And the thing, there's been no systemic changes or no things that you, like I said, again, you said performative things. There are a lot of performative things that look like as if we're trying to do something, but as far as like systems, and I think the funny thing is Senator Harris actually called it out, and I really wish there was opportunity for him to actually answer the question, even though he never would have answered the question, when she was like, out of all these justices that were appointed, 128 justices, and all of them are white, or not, she said none of them are Black. Not one Black justice.
One. Right.
And it's a lifetime appointment too.
So like in the spaces where it matters the most, like, you didn't show what diversity, what inclusion looked like. And please don't try to tout Ben Carson, because you put a freaking like surgeon in a HUD seat.
Right.
So not only is he he's proven that his politics and his policies are just ridiculous, but he also is like just as much, if not more, unqualified for his job as you are.
Right.
as you are, right? So at least with the justices, like, they were judges, but to Kamala's point, right, what does that mean for justice? What does that mean for when you're writing, opinions that those type of judges do, and usually those lifetime appointments comes from, like, that's where the pool of Supreme Court justices typically come from. Unless you have somebody like a Kamala Harris, who was just an amazing AG, goes to to the Senate, and then is probably put in a like that has happened before too. But most times it's these circuit court judges and these like other federal appointed judges that get into these spots that really talk about the ways in which our Constitution
Constitution governs us, a document that was written by white men for white men
Right.
only.
Oh yeah. And if we even go deeper, white men who had property. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
People
So,
as property.
people, right. So it wasn't meant for us. But I think even within that, I think. But that main part of the question on Breonna Taylor definitely showed I think more so like a willful disconnect from black folks, and
you know
just
what's-
justice in general.
You know what's even more frustrating is that blackness is a topic of debate during this presidential election.
And I kind of want to talk about that last time. One of the topics was race and violence or something like that. I'm like, what? Like, what?
We're you're not discussing Asian Americans. You're not discussing the Latinx community. Like, we are a topic of debate. And while I understand we are facing injustice and I understand why it is a topic of debate, the fact that it is a topic is draining and sad. And we ain't talking about the ways in which white people need more rights. Like, why is that even a question in this quote unquote land of the free and home of the brave?
Right.
Like, why is that even a question? So, like, the whole like, I get it. We do need to talk about it, right? Because there needs to be systematic change. Part of me believes that, real reform will never happen in America until the entire system is dismantled. Burn that joker to the ground. As the church folk will say, burn that whoremonger down. But honestly, though, I really think like a real dismantling of the system is what has to happen for us. Because if you keep trying to, there's too many people who benefit from a lack of reform.
Right.
So until it is completely dismantled in some type of way, that's when I believe we'll really start seeing the needle go. Like, I believe the needle is going to continue to move, but to see where the needle needs to be, it has to be a dismantling of it. So, bro, like, as you know, like all of the different topics, specifically that one, Breonna Taylor, is always draining, and it's always kind of upsetting. And to be honest with you, when he started talking about it and started going left, I tried to tune out. But my anger led me back in with my other ear, and I just
and to me it was so condescending. I'm like, huh? Like what? Like it was like in the absurdity of saying, oh, and they just think the country is just like racist. Like, huh? Like,
no, because it is.
It is, bro. Like it is. Like,
Oh, he brought up like, but that doesn't excuse the looting and the like.
What?
Did you not know that in is it Kenosha? Is that how you pronounce the city?
Yeah, where the murderer came and killed two people.
The white
thug.
the white neo-Nazi vigilante. Like, we don't like talking about him.
No,
but you only want to talk about the black people looting. Now, while I have my opinions about looting, and we can talk about that in another conversation.
Right.
Like, nobody really wants to talk about like this gunman
at all,
and the violence that they do. You don't want to talk about the Proud Boys and the ways in which that they were excited about and how they interpreted stand back and stand by. Right? You like the only people y'all want to talk about is the KKK. And granted, we need to completely figure out ways to dismantle them as well. But there are so many other alt-right groups,
right,
that are out there that are violent. Like, come here, Charlottesville, when you ran your Dodge Charger through a crowd and killed somebody. Like, really? And you want to focus in on the looting.
Right.
Because that's the people of color. And that's systematic racism. When you can ignore all of these other things, but hone in on people of color and black folk.
And the funny thing, think about this, y'all be distraught about property.
Yes.
Y'all be distraught about property. When it's actually people dying, it's like, oh, our prayers and thoughts go out to this family. But, a person's business, and granted, I'm not, going to sit there and say that I, condone or anything like that as far as people's businesses being destroyed and stuff like that. But it's interesting that the profit is more important than people, or property is more important than people. So you're outraged at the fact that somebody may have burned down a property, but there's not the same level of outrage is not there when it comes to talking about people being killed. And even in the same conversation, he was so upset about the fact that people were looted, but he didn't have that same energy when it came to George Floyd.
Not at all.
It was just like, oh, and he will get justice. But the looting, my God.
Right. Like, oh, he's going to get justice, but the looting. So you're telling me that Target, their windows are much more important than the life of George Floyd. Come on. But it goes back to Breonna Taylor, right? Drywall versus life.
Right. And then he had the nerve to talk about as far as, and I'm glad she kind of checked him here and was like, who do you think you are? Like, how dare you want to sit up here and tell me about prosecuting? And the thing is, like, you didn't even bring up the fact that Daniel Cameron did not provide all the evidence and stuff like that to the grand jury, who at this point, Daniel Cameron, he's actually trying to hide, are trying to not let the stuff go out free. So to me, there's definitely a cover up there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you showed your tail, and then now the lies are starting to come out. But it's even within that, it's like you want to act like, it's kind of like you're playing the fool, like as in like, I wouldn't dare, discredit our American people or our grand jury. You don't think that they're smart enough? No, it's not the fact that they're not smart enough. It's the fact that they weren't provided all the evidence. And then when you go in and say, I believe in our justice system, where when we live in a completely different society where black people are not treated fairly in terms of our justice system. So it's just, that question alone to me was the most frustrating question. I think again, Senator Harris did a great job at, showing, like, as you to your point, as far as the complete differences in stances regarding that topic. But one topic I feel like they did not really show a difference was, what was it? It was the, help me out here. Was it the money? No.
No, it wasn't the economy.
Wasn't the economy.
They had quite a bit of differences on that one.
Wasn't the economy. Which one was? Because I was like, I don't really, see any too much of a greater difference here. What was it? There was no clear answer in terms of like global warming. Like there was no clear answer. I know, in Senator Harris didn't really stand on the Green New Deal. They kept wanting to bring that part up. He wanted to keep bringing up the Green New Deal, and he kept trying to say like, oh, we're doing all these things in different states and stuff like that, and blah, blah, blah. But it didn't seem like they really had any legitimate stance on either side as far as in terms of like, our world in terms of like global warming and even consider as far as the safety of the world, like those things come into play when it comes to like sicknesses and pandemics and our water sources. Shouts out to Flint. Just in general, like just stuff that people really don't even think about. What do you think about that topic?
No, so yeah, I think, Brian, to be honest, I really think that's probably Biden's weakest policy endeavor, and it's really why in his debate he wanted to separate himself from the Green New Deal because it's so progressive. But I also think where the critique may have been preparing Harris for this was that we're altering the Green New Deal. So yes, it's on our website and things like that because we do believe in it, but just not in some of the ways that it was formally presented by AOC. Right. And the fact that what Pence did make true was that Senator Harris supported the Green New Deal in this kind of original form. So I think there's some reconciling that has to happen with that. So she also did what an attorney does and kind of vacillated and equivocated in her response to that. But on the flip side, Pence had nothing more but to say, oh, but you support the Green New Deal. But global warming, whether you like the extreme measures of the Green New Deal, global warming is real.
It's really
so what you have to even as as a conservative, as a Republican, is figure out ways. How do we say? Because we can talk about the economy all day, but if some of our natural resources started to really deplete, like those are things that's going to affect our economy as well. Look at California; it is literally on fire. Like literally on fire. Florida and Louisiana and parts of Texas, like literally is a flood zone. It is a statewide beach almost every year, and these are things that we're not, paying a lot of attention to. That could, like, imagine if LA was completely wiped off.
Right.
What that would do to an economy.
Oh, yeah.
Like all of the tech, all of you know what I'm saying? What if there was no Silicon Valley because it was destroyed by fires?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just think about, like, that's Facebook, that's Google, that's like all of these different things, right? So like we have to begin, like, while global warming, is important for the environment, we have to think about the ways in which that it affects everything else.
Oh yeah.
So to your point, I think the reason why you may have saw not a huge difference was honestly because Pence doesn't know what to say other than to attack the Green New Deal, and I believe the Biden team really hasn't reconciled what it means, in all honesty, yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
So let's wrap this conversation up on a couple of funny notes.
Okay.
Let's lighten it up just a tad.
I think I know where you're gonna go with this.
We've been going in. So there's one thing that we do know that was pretty obvious, and there's another thing that is funny. Well, let me take that back. This one is not funny at all. It's kind of upsetting. It is upsetting.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring it to you. So there's a celebrity that I think you and I kind of hold in high regard, Lakeith Stanfield.
Oh, that.
Do you like Lakeith Stanfield?
I like his work.
Okay.
He's had some good pieces. He's actually going to be it's funny because he's going to be playing the person who betrayed Fred Hampton in the new a movie about the Black Panthers. So
Okay.
it kind of may make sense.
Okay. So artistically, I'm a fan of his as well. Don't know much about him as a celebrity, his personhood, but popped up on my timeline real quickly as I happened to open it up.
Yes,
He
sir.
just posted on IG and says, "I don't like her hair, but other than that, this is better than the last one, but still sad." Okay. Your thoughts about the debate performance is just your perspective. And what on earth does her hair have to do with anything about her performance tonight? This goes back to black women being ultimately disrespected and not regarded for who they are. She is on that stage to defend democracy in her case, right? To really debate, have intelligent conversations, and you are focused on what she looks like. She's very presentable. She's very professional. She's presenting well. I thought she looked beautiful. Like, whether you liked her hair personally or not, like me and my wife, there are certain hairstyles that my wife gets that I might not care for. Like when I was young, there was haircuts that she was like, babe, you know what I'm saying? But like, it did not discredit who I was as a person. There were times where we didn't even bring it up, like, because it's not important, right? And specifically on this stage, bro, what relevance does that have to anything?
At all.
And he's defending, right? He's defending his ability to comment on her hair. Like, you know, I can't talk about whether I like, bro. Why does why does it matter? Why is that a point for you to even bring up for her? Why is it a point for you to even discuss what her hair looks like? What does that do for any relevant conversation?
Right.
And you lay it out with that.
Right.
Just say the fact that, you know what I'm saying, this debate was better than the last, but you know, I'm still not feeling it. And that's okay. Like,
I like
just
what
like
you-
white men gonna white men, niggas gonna nigga.
Niggas gonna
And bro, and it is so irritating. It is so irritating.
And you know, I like Lakeith Stanfield, but his beard don't connect. Like, what is
And that's probably why your beard don't connect. You other people's hair.
Right. Like I like you, but your beard don't connect. I like you, but you know, your lips is always black. Like, it's just like,
Right. I like you, but you too skinny. You
Like-
know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I like that movie you was in. Yeah, I like the photograph, but I ain't like the way I don't like how your voice sound though. Or here's another: your voice is whack, but the photograph was better than that other movie you're in. Like,
bro, like, shut up.
right? Shut up! Like, none of that is relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. So I just had to throw that to you because
Well, yeah, because to me, if anything, it's like you're talking about a woman, right?
a black woman.
And then I was about to say, on top of that, it's a black woman in her hair. That's like, that is like and you were in Get Out, my brother. I was gonna say another word. You were in Get Out. You should know better.
You were the representation of the sunken place.
Right, and here you are on Instagram in the sunken place, worried about a
The
black
sunken
woman's hair.
place. I mean, just doing what people of your kind do.
Right.
All right. So now that we got that little piece out the way, this house fly
This
that decided to come up
big
in this
old
debate.
fly.
That thing came over there and sat on Mike Pence's head and said, "I shall not be moved."
The man of God did not move off that head
For a good 45 seconds.
It was just sitting there, like, I'm just gonna be here. And the funny thing, you know, like, within we said something earlier in the podcast about, like, you know, Black Twitter is gonna, you know, be a thing. That thing sat there, and I'm pretty sure, I can't wait for the memes that's gonna come off, and I'm sure they're already out there, of this fly.
Oh,
but
they're already starting.
But I was like, you know, flies are always, you know, flies love doo-doo.
Baby caca. They love it. And he is a
love
big
doo-doo.
pile of it.
A big pile of doo-doo. They like trash and doo-doo. So
Trash and doo-doo.
Trash.
and doo-doo. Trash and doo-doo.
Trash and doo-doo.
Oh, man.
But yeah, when I saw that fly, I said, "Oh Lord."
I said, girl, redemption is nigh.
Okay, everybody been talking about that fly.
Everybody's about that fly.
Everybody been talking about that
and low
fly.
key, because it's like, you probably, you're like, I know it ain't no fly in this house. Like, this thing landing on my television.
Right, and this how cold you are. If a fly lands on me, I'm gonna be like,
I'm going to feel that thing.
I'm gonna feel that thing.
Whether it's on my hair, I'm going to be like, something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do something.
Right, and he had a low cut, and he didn't feel that fly. It was a big
That was
old
a
fly.
big fly.
It was
That
like a
was one-
horse fly.
Listen, that was one of them dumpster flies. That lets you know the pile of trash he is.
The
trash.
pile
And it
of
didn't
trash.
go over there to our queen. It didn't even go her way.
It didn't go.
It didn't go her way. It knew better.
Because she smells like incense and roses and flowers.
Let me tell you what my grandma used to tell us when we was kids. Like when we would be grilling, she'd be like, smoking flies follow ugly people.
Ooh.
So I'm just gonna leave that sage Southern wisdom out there of why that fly was on Pence and not on Harris.
Listen, that thing sat there.
And he has an ugly spirit.
His spirit is ugly, ain't it?
Oh, that spirit is
That
ugly.
spirit is ugly.
Oh my God, it's ugly. But bro, any final thoughts? Any how do you think? Like, I guess we can definitely end it on this note. How do you think this is kind of telling to what maybe the next presidential debate is going to be?
If it does happen, I know Vice President Biden said that if old boy still got coronavirus, he don't want to do it.
Listen, and I'm with it. I understand.
But definitely, I think the next debate will be a little more calm. But I don't think so, because I think President Trump is going to be more emboldened about the fact that he had coronavirus. So anything about coronavirus, he'll be like, I had it. And he's going to be like, I defeated it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's going to be another crap show. I just think it's going to be another waste of time. It's going to be another Housewives reunion. I think Vice President Biden will be more composed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's definitely learned. They didn't set him down.
Yeah, I think he'll be more composed. Because really, his thing is really just sticking to the facts. I think you said it previously was more so the fact of I may have been offline, but it's really getting into your groove as far as talking about policy.
Yes.
Not necessarily just trying to clap back, really just say something back or just try to defend yourself. It's really break down policy, ideas, thought process, the future of America, what your plan is, and not fall into the trap of, clown, shut up.
We can say a lot of things about Trump, but he's quick on his feet. And he's good for the rebuttal and stuff. So the way that you defeat him, like Hillary Clinton had her obvious woes, right? But the way that she mastered the debate was she stayed focused on policy and how she was going to implement, and she threw some of her jabs that way. And I think that's what so like when Trump tried to push Biden to say things about, do you believe in law and order, he could have because we all know law and order is coded for racism, right? So he could have simply said, what I believe in is justice, right? And dismantling some of the systems in which that has held back black and brown people, and go into what that policy is, right? So I think that's how you win a debate, because he's going to consistently be looked at as a fool, and all that you will be known for is consistently pushing policy. That's the only way you defeat a Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
In a debate. Like you can't, you're not, unless you're like Nene Leakes and you just want a shout match, you're not gonna get anywhere. But that's the thing, we expect that from the Housewives. Like our presidential debates, we do not expect these type of things to come from those spaces. So like you said, if there is a debate, I'm going to look at it with very low expectations, but I'm going to look at it nonetheless. And bro, I don't really know. I'm so pessimistically optimistic about what election day is going to be, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll probably be up with something.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But all right, y'all, thank y'all for hanging in here. This has been your official political analysis from the Jigsaw Podcast. Bro, let's head on to the next joint and let's talk about some black men self-care.
Sounds good.
All right.
Ooh, stop.
All right, good people, you know what it is. I am my brother's keeper. I'll go this week for Black Man Self Care. I am going to rest this Saturday. So I told you last week that I was doing my last J-Work kind of Saturday fitness course. And it takes a lot out of me preparing and things like that. Now I am teaching another fitness class, so you can ask me later how you can how you can get in on that. But yeah, so I taught my last one last week. So this week I'm going to rest and not be pressured or stressed about leading a group of people into fitness this coming Saturday. And the beautiful thing about that, bro, is that like while I ain't gonna say I love working out. I do enjoy working out. I think I fall in love with the process. But while I do enjoy working out and going to the gym, my gym in my garage, has become like my safe space, or my space of release or whatever. It's a different type of energy when you have to encourage people. Right. You have to lead, like you have to have your form correct. You got to keep your energy going. So even if people aren't doing the deep squats like you told them to, you still got a deep squat. Right. You know what I'm saying? If they not doing the jumping jacks to the pace, like all that different kind of stuff. So not having the pressure of doing that on a Saturday. And like that's the first thing I do on a Saturday, like outside of like kind of waking up and you know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna be my moment this weekend to just relax and enjoy. And maybe I'm gonna work out, but maybe I won't be doing it in the ways that I've done it before. So what you got going on, bro?
Well, thankfully my in-laws are coming to town.
Okay.
So my daughter usually likes to wake up at a certain time. I'm going to, when she wakes up, take her behind down to the hall and hand her off to her grandparents. So I'm getting back in the bed. I'm legit going to be in the bed probably most of Saturday, or I'm going to get out of the bed when I feel like getting out of the bed. Like, that's going to be my thing. I'm legit going to just chill, and hang out and not do anything. And you know how like parents are, we know when they come into town, you kind of want to serve them, but it's in them to just serve. So, and oftentimes I'm like, no, it's cool. Ow. This time I'm like, all right, you can go ahead and do what you want to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chill this weekend. I'm not doing nothing. I'm staying in the bed, and let my in-laws, who I love so dearly, to watch my child.
That is a vibe. All right, let's get ready to wrap up this episode and let's go into a greater conversation.
All right.
Bruh, let me talk. Let me talk.
All right, we are here for a greater conversation where we kind of get some things off of our chest. And Joshua, I'm going to go first, a little more lighthearted. But what gets on my nerves, and I see this, and it's really annoying, is that people, they have like this post on like social media, and they follow it up by saying, "But y'all not ready for that having that conversation, or y'all not ready for that conversation?" And I'm like, most of them have already had those conversations. Maybe you're not ready for that conversation. And on top of that, what is annoying is like you think by saying, "But y'all not ready for that conversation," makes what you said sound deep, but it doesn't. It really doesn't make you sound deep. It doesn't make anything you said sound deep. It doesn't make you sound deep. It doesn't make you sound philosophical. Nothing. It really just is annoying. So please stop doing that, because like we're ready for the conversation, or if anything, why don't you just have the conversation? That's what social media is for. Why don't you grab a group of people together, open up a group chat, and talk about the toxic behaviors of, South Africa rainforest. And it'd be stuff that don't make no sense. It's like, a black man always got sugar in their coffee, but y'all not ready for that conversation about colorism. I'm like, what? And y'all put these two things together that make no sense, and then say, but y'all not ready for that conversation. It's not deep. It's not smart. You sound stupid. So please stop doing that. If you want to have the conversation, just say you want to have the conversation.
Just have the conversation.
And then on top of that, those same people be the ones who are doing a little side shade and talk about, real man pay all the bills. If you want a man that pays all the bills, just say that. Like, you don't have to.
If you want to be a housewife, just say
just say that. You don't have to say, but not ready for the conversation. Just do it and just shut up, please. And thank you.
You know what? My greater conversation is going to piggyback off of that. So you tick all the people who say, "Yeah, I ain't ready for that conversation." I am sick of you pressuring me to normalize everything. Okay? Can we normalize not ringing the doorbell? Can we normalize that, please? Can we normalize, like, girl, if we normalize everything, then we're going to be talking about the ways in which you need to unnormalize everything, okay? Now, there are some things that we do need to normalize, right? Like, if I come to you an event, let's actually normalize not bringing up a personal story about you when I'm talking about myself, right? But if you're just talking about let's normalize this and let's normalize that and let's normalize this, there's a reason why it ain't normal for some of these things because it doesn't need to be. And it goes back to those same people that you're talking about. You want to be fake deep. You want to have something to say. You want to have a popular meme. And because there are so many puddle level people in America, they're going to take your little tweet. They're going to take your Facebook post. It's going to blow up. It's going to be all over the place. Now we got a generation of people who normalize and not sitting. Let's normalize not sitting at the dinner table because Massa and them sit at the dinner table. Girl, if you don't sit at the dinner table, have dinner with your family and shut up. So I'm just tired of people, like, you know, to your point, the fake deepness of it all. I think we have enough of that to deal with this fake president and all this other kind of stuff that's in office to where can we normalize not normalizing me to death? Okay. I don't want to be normalized to death. Can we normalize that?
Right.
God bless you. And this has been another episode of the Jigsaw Podcast.
Good day.
Good day. Good day. As always, we want to thank y'all for listening.
Yes.
We know last week was a long one, but we also know that it was a very good conversation.
Yes.
We appreciate y'all for hanging in there with us and sticking around for what we had to say about sex. Brian and I have already talked, and we're going to do a part 2.
Yes, we will.
And as soon as we find the right guest, we're going to bring some women on and really have that conversation from the other side and kind of see, you know,
we're ready for that conversation.
Everybody's thoughts about the SEX. Glory to God. So yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, so definitely thank you all for listening. And again, please share, like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Rate us. A good rating.
5 stars only.
5 stars only.
And a good review. Hype gas us up.
Let us know how much you love us.
Gas us up.
Tell us how attractive we are.
Because I know I'm fine. But remind me.
Let me know. Yeah, so definitely please, we thank you for your support. Yes, we do have our P.O. box, so please email us at askthejigsaw at gmail.com. We want to hear from you. So we're starting to get some stuff in. So please, we want to hear from you. We want to talk about what you want to talk about. We're ready for the conversations.
Because we got some stuff in, and we going to debut that first question next week. We are ready for it.
We are ready.
So don't get, if you want some advice, some black men conversation and opinions.
We're gonna give it to you straight.
And we consider ourselves to be non-toxic black men.
Right.
So come on and get our perspective.
Please. We're 2020 men. You know, we futuristic. We care about everything. We know. You know, we have the emotional intelligence.
Yeah, we are men of the 20s.
So please send your questions, comments, concerns, whatever to the again, Ask the Jigsaw podcast or Ask the Jigsaw. I'm tripping today. Ask the Jigsaw at gmail.com. Also, make sure you do follow us on IG.
That's right.
On IG, we need to get them followers up now. If you do know anybody that, if you're already following us, tag as many people as you can. If you think they would like any episode, let them know what episode to listen to. You can follow me at I am Brian Hare on Instagram, and Joshua, where about you?
At I am Josh Rogers. I don't do the Twitter. I don't tweet with you young
I don't tweet
so
either. I don't do the Twitter.
Don't look for me there.
I don't do the Twitter.
And I don't TikTok, so don't look for me there either.
I don't do the TikTok neither. I'm old. And I
the
definitely
only TikTok I do is the clock on the wall. Huh?
Oh, God, I thank you. We don't do all that. But I definitely want to give a special shout out. So before the next episode, my baby will be one.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Brooklyn. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Is Brooklyn in here tonight?
That's for you, Brooklyn. That's for you, Brooklyn. Happy first birthday.
Yes.
Happy first birthday, niece.
Oh Lord. And I guess that's it.
That is a wrap. So remember, this life can stress you out, but don't you dare let it. Don't you dare let it. All you can do is what you can while you can, the very best way that you can. But just like we gonna celebrate Miss Brooklyn this weekend, we will not dare get caught with our work undone. All right?
God bless you.
God bless y'all. God bless you.
We love you.
We love y'all. See y'all next week. That's a wrap.